Hey everyone, I'm Fortitude. So before I begin today's video, I just want to say if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you found it. And if you're a long time viewer, then it's great to see you again. And I would also like to say thank you for all those people who have stayed around with this channel for a while. Um, Thanks for all the likes, your subscriptions, your comments. I really appreciate it. So stay tuned. There's a lot more content that I plan on releasing, and I'll share more information on it soon. But yeah, I'm just glad to be here and playing all these board games and sharing new strategies with you all. So excited for the journey and hope you can stick around for it. All right, so for today's game, we are going to do a replay analysis of Castles of Burgundy. So this is a recent arena game that I played. It was a turn-based game, so it wasn't a live game. We all had extra time to think. But oh man, this was, I would say, one of the top 5 games of Castles of Burgundy I've ever played in my life, and I've played a lot of games of Castles of Burgundy. Yeah, I won't spoil it. I won't spoil the ending. If you're really interested, you can skip ahead, but watch the whole video. It's really worth it. It's a really exciting game. There were a lot of tricky decisions, a lot of blocking going on. So I think you'll enjoy this video. All right, so let's just dive in. So we are playing on board number 7. This is identical board for both players, and this is the first edition of the game. So looking at the tiles, so in the first edition, you have this 3 points per type of goods sold. That is the first edition version of this tile. You also have the more balanced yellow tile number 6, which says you can buy from any depot, not just the central depot, but you still have to use coins. You cannot use workers. And then yellow tile number 26 is slightly different. But yeah, that was the setup. Let's jump right into the game. So I'm playing against my opponent, Thymi and Sageko. I don't know how to pronounce their name, but we'll just call them Red for simplicity. All right, so let's begin. So usually, here, let me do the first turn. So our opponent started in the top right. So just to give you some strategy for this specific board number 7, I like to start over here because you immediately have connection to 2 waters. You have a connection to a mine, and you also have another connection to a castle. So you have a lot of small regions you can immediately finish. And then once you get this water going, I like to kind of build out a connection like this. Or you can alternatively go to this yellow tile, go to this building, and then reach this water. And then phase B and phase C onwards, you can kind of make a path towards this mine, ultimately getting to this water. And you can also place an animal along the way over here. That will give you access to these 2 castles up top. So right off the bat, this was an interesting game because my opponent decided to start all the way up here. All the way up here. So I don't think I've seen many games with somebody starting at that position. So yeah, I was excited for this game right from the beginning. I'm player 2, my opponent Red is player 1. So let's see what move they make. They roll a 5 and a 1, and we roll a 6 and a 2. So what I would have done, just thinking about my strategy in their position, I would have probably just gone for this water and this water and completed this region over here. That would have just made sure that I go into round 2 as first player, and I'm also making a connection to this mine in the second phase. But my opponent decides to do something interesting. Well, actually, I see their reasoning, but what they do is they grab a water and then they grab a mine. So, okay, so that kind of leaves it to me to grab the 2 remaining water on the board, and that's what I do. But this is an interesting decision because now to put this mine down, they'll need to pick up an animal and then also Actually, let's just move forward. But yeah, I don't want to spoil too much. But they pick up a water and a mine. We have a 6 and a 2. So I'm kind of debating how I want to do this. I thought about doing it like that, but then I also thought maybe I should just pick up the 2 water and not do anything else. I'm actually not sure what the best move is, but this move guarantees me the water, so I just took it. Alright, so 1 and a 1 for our opponent and a 2 and a 3 for us. So let's see what red does. So they do grab a castle, which is pretty good because that does allow them to finish this region right away. And then now what they need to do is they need to grab an animal so that they can make a connection to one of these mines. So they can either go like this, they can go like this, or if they complete this 6, then they can go like this, something like this. Okay. All right, so 1 and a 3, 2 and a 3 for us. So I will definitely place one of these waters, I believe, or maybe not. Let's see, because I'm also interested in yellow tile number 11. Right, so we are thinking, what should we do in this case? I think this is a good move. And just looking back at the replay, I think I do agree with this move, like picking up yellow tile number 2 and taking workers. Not yellow tile number 2, yellow tile number 11. And the reason this tile is so good on this map is because it helps you finish your castles, mines, or yellow tiles. And those are the regions that I'm going to be competing for anyways. So this just gives me a boost. There's also the other yellow tile, that is yellow tile number 10, available on the map, which is similar. That one allows you to let me just do one thing real quick. Okay, so yellow tile number 10 allows you to kind of place your your ship or animal tiles. You can change the die result by 1. So that's also pretty good, but on this board, like board number 7, I prefer yellow tile number 11 slightly more. So I'm happy that I got to grab it. Right, so 1 and a 3 for our opponent. They can certainly place the water if they want. And then they buy a tile from the black market. They buy a bank. So this was an interesting move. I would have probably grabbed workers, but hey, I mean, it's not a bad move. 1 and a 6 for me. So that is perfect. I can place my water if I want, and I can straight away place yellow tile number 11. Or actually a better move is to pick up the carpenter's workshop with yellow tile number 11. Because on board number 7, I do like to finish this center region of 7 buildings. That is pretty manageable, especially if you pick up a carpenter's workshop. Like, you can start working on it early. And most of my opponents do that, so that's just something I like to compete with. So let's see what I do. Alright, so that's the move we took. So then we are player 1, so we get to go again. I roll a 5 and a 2. Right, so with the 5, I can definitely place yellow tile number 2 if I want. And I certainly want a bank over here because I do not have any mines. So my silver income is 0 right now. So in order to go into phase B, I like having 2 silvers and at least 2 workers on my board. So bank allows me to do that. So that is what I do, I believe. I just like redoing my moves like 1,000 times, so hope you all get used to it. Alright, so 5 and a 6 for my opponent. Let's see what they do. 5 is actually pretty nice for them because um, it allows them to place the castle. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to pick up an animal and place that animal right away. Okay, very nice. So they placed the castle, they picked up the pigs, they placed the pigs, spending a worker, and now they have connection to this mine, and they also have connection to this region of 3 buildings. And they rolled a 3 and a 5, so that's pretty good for them. We rolled a 3 and a 4, which is good for our water, and it's good for the bank too. Like, I guess we can place it over here. I could place it in this 3 spot, but then I'm spending a worker to do that, so I don't know if I want to. So we place our water. And a quick strategy tip for you all, like when you are picking up goods and there's like multiple goods available on the map, like how should you prioritize which goods to pick up? So an easy tip is try to pick up variety. So in this case, like I'm trying to make sure that, I have coverage for at least one of each type of good. That will ensure that if yellow tile number 15 shows up, you gain maximum benefit from it. Also, if you do not want to do that, another strategy is to pick up double. So just a good that you already own. So that way you just build up that stack. So when you sell, you are going to get more points from it. And that also helps with yellow tile number 25. So quick bit of strategy. All right, so with the 3, I place my water, and with the 4, I do go ahead and place the bank over there. So I did decide to prioritize that worker, which in hindsight, I think is fine. 3 would have been a slightly better spot because then in that case, if I would have occupied 3, then I'm only like 1 tile away from the mine. By placing it here, now I need connection. Now I need a connection over here. I need a connection here or here. And then I need a connection here or here. And then I'll be reaching the mine. So slight variation, but that's fine. My opponent with a 3 and a 5. So they placed the mine. So this was an interesting move. So I don't agree with this move. I think this was not accurate. They should have placed the bank with the 3. Like if they were going to take one of those 2 tiles into phase B, I think they should have taken the mine into phase B because the bank gives them 2 silver right off the bat. And they could have used the other die for taking workers. But this is what they choose to do. All right. So 6 and a 2 for our opponent and also 6 and a 2 for us. So that is pretty cool. All right, so let's see the tiles that showed up. So just looking at the board real quick, there is yellow tile number 15 that showed up. That is pretty lucrative. There's one mine that's lucrative. The castle is good for me because I still have the empty space on my board. I'm still getting used to this new highlighting tool. I hope you guys are enjoying it because it helps me explain things a lot better. So I hope you are getting value out of it too. So that will go right here. And then there's 2 waters that showed up on the board. So I definitely want to grab one of them. Grabbing one of these waters will make sure that I go as player 1 into the next phase. That is phase C. All right. So let's see what we do. So definitely grab that tile. I think I was kind of debating, should I pick up a water? But looking back, I really don't need to pick up a water right away because my opponent rolled a 6 and a 2. And there's no way for them to get both waters. So at most, they can try to get 1 water. But even that is tricky. 1 water isn't tricky, but 2 waters is not possible for them based on this die roll. So that's what I'm debating. Right, 6 and a 2 for my opponent. Let's see what they do. Okay, so they bought a bunch. Well, they did a few things. So they placed the bank with the 2. Then they bought the church, and then they immediately placed the church with the 6, and that allowed them to get yellow tile number 19, which works out pretty well because it's a bonus for the church at the end of the game. So that's a nice little combo. Right, so 5 and a 3 for us, 1 and a 3 for our opponent. Let's see what we are going to do. Now I do have yellow tile number 11. That makes placing all 3 of these tiles super efficient for me. So that's what I was debating, how I want to do this. Still making up my mind. I like doing these undos because it sometimes helps me find more efficient moves. Like in some cases, like when I undo a bit, like it gets my mind rolling and I can see certain things that I might have missed. So that's just something I enjoy doing. All right, a 1 and a 3 for our opponent. So I guess what we did was we placed the mine, we placed the castle, we picked up a water, and our opponent has a 1 and a 3. So with the 1, they place the warehouse, they sell goods, they buy the market, they place the market, they pick up a water. So just these last 2 moves by my opponent have been really fun to watch. Like they have just bought 2 things from the black market and just pulled off some really nice combos. So just, yeah, really impressive stuff. And they are just 3 buildings away from completing their middle region, which is pretty impressive too. All right, so for me, I have a 2 and a 3. So I place that tile and then I pick up a church. And my reasoning for picking up the church was that I can take that church to the new phase, even like to phase C, and I can use it to get a mine or a castle if needed. Okay, so 2 and a 6 for our opponent. Let's see what they decide to do. There is a nice stack of 5 goods if they want to pick those up. Let's see. Okay, so they pick up the watchtower with the 6, and with the 2, they take workers. All right, 1 and a 3 for us, 6 and a 5 for our opponent. Excuse me. So what do we do in this case? I think selling is not a bad idea. Yeah, I was going to say that because I don't think I'm going to pick up this bank, and I like to go into a new phase with 2 silver minimum. That's just try to do that. Even if you're a beginner player, like that is a very good strategy to follow at all levels of game. At all levels of the game, like starting from beginner all the way to expert. Like just having money in the bank when you go into a new round, make sure that you can buy a useful tile and that can put you ahead of your opponent. Okay, so with the 1, I sell goods, and with the 3, I'm debating picking up the town hall. I don't know if I end up doing it or not. Okay, so I sell the 3 and then I take workers with the 1. All right. And the reason I sold the 3 over there was because I don't see any other 3s, and there is still a 1 in queue. So I might have a small opportunity for that 1 to line up with any of these tiles, and then I can pick it up with my last water. 5 and a 6 for our opponent. So they place the water, they pick up those double goods. All right, great. Okay, so it's the final turn of phase B, and if we look at the scores, it's pretty even. Like I'm at 50, and my opponent is at 44. So pretty close, I would say. 2 and a 3. Let's see what we do with it. 2 and a 3. I think I still have to place this water no matter what. So I'm just gonna spend the workers to do that. So it actually it was a really crazy move by my opponent because they bought their third tile from the black market this round. They got 3 tiles from the black market in phase B. That is wild. So they picked up the town hall, and then they are going into phase C with 3 tiles in their storage. That is also crazy. So we are deciding, yeah, definitely place the water, pick up the double stack of 5s, and then just take workers. All right, so we are in phase C, and that really paid off for me because yellow tile number 25 showed up. So I am really excited to see that tile. There's also yellow tile number 18, which is kind of useful for me, but it can also be useful for my opponent because there's another carpenter's workshop over here. There's also a mine that both of us are probably contesting. There's 4 waters that showed up, so we definitely want to see who ends up with more waters. If we look at our opponent's board, they are pretty close to finishing up their region 7 building in the middle. So it'll be hard for me to block them on it. Okay, so 2 and a 6 for me, 1 and a 1 for our opponent. Let's see what we do. Okay, so we end up placing our church. That gives us a castle. We also pick up the mine, and then we buy yellow tile number 25 from the black market. Let's see what our opponent does with the 1 and a 1. Okay, so they place yellow tile number 19. Nice, that gives them connection to the 6 water space, and they already had a connection to the 5. And then they pick up the carpenter's workshop with their 1, which is extremely nice. Okay, so it's our turn with the 1 and a 1. This, I do want to point out that this castle is going to be tricky for us to place because I would need like one of these animals, or I would need like a connection like this, or I don't even have this mine. The other way to get to here would be like somewhere like this. So yeah, I basically need an animal to place this castle in this round. So we are trying to build out that yellow tile connection. Let's see if it happens. Okay, so I placed the yellow tile and then I picked up the warehouse, and I do like the warehouse. I think it's a very strong tile. Like it lets you sell goods, and especially if you have tiles like yellow tile number 15 and yellow tile number 25, it's the ultimate. It's the most important building in the game for you. My opponent has 1 and a 3. That is great. They can, yep. Beautiful. So they are really doubling down on buildings and also getting the subsequent yellow tiles for those buildings. So right now they have 1 church and 1 carpenter's workshop, but they also have the equivalent yellow tile, endgame scoring yellow tiles for those. Alright, 1 and a 1 for us. We only have 6 more turns in phase C. So 1 is perfect, so I can place the warehouse, I can sell goods, and then I can sell another good. Okay, I see my reasoning. So I wanted to go for the market because that gives me one more unique type of building for my big building region. Okay, yeah, I think that's a good move. 6 and a 2 for our opponent. Let's see what they do. Okay, very nice. So they place the town hall and they immediately place the watchtower, completing their region of 6 buildings. I mean, region of 7 buildings. So that instantly propels them to 86 points over here compared to my 56 points over here. All right, so 2 and a 6 for us, 4 and a 6 for our opponent. So we definitely want to place that mine, and then we also want to place our market and get the water. Excuse me. Right, let's see. So our opponent with a 4 and a 6. Right, so they just pick up the warehouse and place the warehouse, sell some more goods. So now they have the required two silver going into the new round. They'll actually have 3 because they already have a mine over here. So yeah, good moves by my opponent. 1 and a 5 for me, 4 and a 3 for my opponent. So with the 5 I take workers, and with the 1 I place the water. That just allows me to pick up a lot of goods, so it's the best move in the game for me. And this is what I was saying at the beginning, that it's so important to get a connection to this castle, because now I am just kind of holding on to it. Like I still need a connection like this, or through any of these animals, or I need 2 water to get a connection. So that's important. Right, 4 and a 3 for my opponent. So they pick up another animals, they pick up a pigs, which works out. So one thing I would like to point out, the way my opponent is playing is they went into phase B and then into phase C and then also into phase D with 3 tiles in their storage. So that's just wild for me. But hey, I mean, it's working out for them. Right, 4 and a 2 for me, 2 and a 2 for my opponent. So just looking at the board, the most valuable tiles are this pig for my opponent, because they already have a pig here, they have a pig here. There are 3 waters, like 1, 2, 3. So I just need one of them to stay player 1 in the final phase. There's also just 1 mine and 1 castle. And then these 2 yellow tiles, yellow tile number 17 and yellow tile number 2. Both of those are interesting. Right, so looking at the buildings, the only building that technically works for me this round is the watchtower. So I have to prioritize it, because I cannot go into phase E expecting to pick up 2 buildings, that too different from these 5 buildings that I've already placed. Like that's a much lower priority than just picking up a building right now and then just keeping my fingers crossed and hoping for a building that works out in the last phase. My opponent doesn't, it's not a problem for them because they've already completed their regions. Okay. So that is what I'm trying to prioritize this round. And the reason I prioritize yellow tile number 17 is because if my opponent is going to complete their animals, then I kind of want to make a move on my yellow tiles. Plus having this yellow tile number 17, make sure that I can kind of build a connection to the castles like this. So that's what I was hoping for. Right, 2 and a 2 for my opponent. So they place the animal and then they also pick up the castle. Right, so I roll a 3 and a 4. So my opponent also rolls a 3 and a 4. So that is really interesting. So I place the watchtower. I guess I'm deciding how I want to do this. Okay, so I place the watchtower and then I pick up the final mine from the board. That will allow me to complete my mines before my opponent. They roll a 3 and a 4. So they complete that yellow region and they immediately place the water, picking up 3 goods. So that is an incredible move for them because they immediately get a connection to the castle. And look, it's paid off because they roll a 3 and a 4 and we have a 4 and a 5. Okay. So we are still player 1. So we get to go again if we choose 2. I'm just making up my mind how I want to do this. Okay, so I decided to do it in this way. I placed the yellow tile with the 5. I placed the castle with the 4. And as part of the free action, I took a water from the 4 spot. And then I also bought the watchtower. In hindsight, I don't know if this was the best move. I could have also gotten the cows alternatively, but I already have the yellow tile for it, so I decided to prioritize. Okay, my opponent with a 3 and a 4. Okay, so with the 4, they place the castle. They pick up the other pigs that they wanted, and then they also get a church, which works out because they get bonuses for church. Alright, so the final turn of this phase, I guess last 4 turns of this phase, I roll a 2 and a 3. Sell goods. Is that what I want to do? Okay, I think that's a decent move. So I put my mine, I just get that region completed. And then I take workers. So I'll go into I'll still have 2 more turns this round. My opponent with a 1 and a 5. So they definitely want to place one of those pigs. And then they just take workers, okay? So we roll a 6 and a 2. My die rolls for the water have not been that great, but hey, let's see. With the 2, I just take workers. Alright, so my opponent with a 4 and a 2. Let's see what they do. Okay, they pick up a carpenter's workshop, which is useful for them because they have a bonus for that too. Plus, they'll just allow them to finish this region of buildings pretty quick. Alright, so we are in the final phase of the game, phase E. So looking at my board, the only buildings that allow me to complete this region are basically these two town halls. So I need to get one of them at any cost. Like all of these don't work for me. I already have them. The market, I already have it. Another thing is I could go for yellow tile number 1. That will allow me to finish my region of buildings too. But I just wanted to prioritize the town hall. Right, and we also have yellow tile number 24 that showed up. So this was kind of a hard turn for me because I would have really liked to finish my castle before my opponent, but I didn't get to do that. because the die rolls were just not lining up for it. So I'm making up my mind how to do this. Okay, so I place the town hall. I place yellow tile number 24. Actually, I pick up the town hall. I place the town hall. Place yellow tile number 24. And I've also completed my region of 7 buildings. So I am slightly ahead of my opponent at this point, but they are going to get a ton of points by completing their animals. So right now I need to decide, do I let them complete their animals or do I just focus on my own board and do other things? I don't think that'll be a decision in our hands because they straight away do that and they get the castle. So again, that was a strong move by them. So they spent 2 workers to do it, but I think it was worth it. Right, 3 and a 4 for me, 2 and a 4 for our opponent. So I just need 1 yellow tile basically to complete my yellow region. So that's what I'm going to prioritize. I just need 1 more water as well. And probably if I can, I would like to finish this region of 2 buildings. Let's see if that happens. So I just decide to do it like that. I pick up a water and then I pick up yellow tile number 1 because I don't want to get blocked on the yellow tiles. I need at least one of them. So this is the one that I pick. My opponent with a 2 and a 4. Okay, so what do? They place their castle, so they get the castle bonus and then they pick up an animal, some chickens, and then they also had to take worker with their first action. Okay, so this point in the game, it was looking extremely tight to me. If you look at the scores right now, my opponent is doing extremely well. I have 123. They have 135. On top of that, they have already completed these 2 region bonuses. I only have 1 right now. I will be getting 1 for the water and yellow tiles, but still. And if we look at the goods sold, so that's also pretty even, I would say. Pretty even right now. So the biggest differentiator this round is going to be the yellow tile bonuses that we'll be getting. So in this case, yellow tile number 25, 15, 24, 17 for me. Yellow tiles number 19 and 18 for my opponent. So yeah, it's looking like a very close game. It could be anybody's game at this moment. Every single decision has so much weight, and that's even more compounded because this was a turn-based game. So I think I had to look at this game a few times to make up my mind on what I wanted to do. You can obviously calculate and do really try to analyze the game, but I just like to. So every game of Castles of Burgundy, you'll reach a point where you have to make a trade-off. And the decision goes like this. Do I do something that will help me and ignore my opponent? Or do I go out of my way to block my opponent? But then what is the impact of that on my own score? So that is a very high tension, high tempo action decision that you need to take in Castles of Burgundy, and that's what makes this game so exciting and so interesting. So in this case, that decision for me, and I hope you were able to find it too, is do I get these two sheep? Do I discard one of these? I mean, do I discard one of these three tiles to pick up these sheep? That was the decision for me. Pause the video and let me know what you think in the comments down below if you wanna decide on your own, but let me continue so that you can see what happens. And the reason I want to block these sheep is because my opponent already has like these pigs. These pigs are going to go right here. This black sheep is going to go right here. These black animals. And then they have this space open, which they will critically need these sheep for. And they have the perfect die roll. Like the 6 die roll is good for this spot. And the 4 die roll is good for picking up this tile. So that is the decision that it's an easy decision for them. The tough decision is for me. Do I let them do that or not? So let's see what we decide. Yeah, I really couldn't make up my mind. I'm just going to see what I end up doing. Okay, so I decide not to block them on that action. So ultimately, I decided to place my yellow tile, get that bonus going. And I did not want to discard the watchtower because it is 8 points for me. It is 4 points, just the base effect. And then I also have yellow tile number 17. So that makes this a 8-point action that I'm discarding to block my opponent. I could have discarded a water, but then again, like I could still lose that lead. It's a bunch of points for completing this region of 2. Plus it would have given me the 5 points for finishing that before my opponent. So I really wanted to get it done. My opponent will get the animals now though, because they are going to pick up this tile. But that is something that I accepted. So this was an interesting move. I don't think my opponent should have done this. So they buy a tile. They buy the watchtower from the bank. They discard it to take to take the sheep, and then they place the pigs in the 6. I get why they did it, because they thought that the watchtower I could still grab to put it in this region, but believe me, I was not thinking of doing that. My priority was like, I already have this watchtower, so I just need one of these warehouses to complete this region of 2 buildings. Like that is what my focus was. And there were 2 warehouses, so my opponent could not have blocked me on those. So I think picking up this watchtower, like this move right here is a mistake. And let me know if you agree with it. But yeah, I don't think my opponent should have made that call. Anyways, let's continue with the final 4 turns of the game. 2 and a 5 for us. So what I did was also interesting. I sold goods with the 2, and then I placed my watchtower with the 5. Now I'm kind of dependent on luck here, because I'm hoping that in the last round I can roll something. I can roll something for this 2 spot. I can roll something for this 3 spot to place my water. And ideally I can buy like one of these watchtowers from the middle and complete this region. So I'm really looking for like a 2 or a 3 as the final die roll. So that's kind of a big gamble on my end. I wish I could have like done it more streamlined. My opponent has a 1 and a 2, so it's not a good die roll for them either, because I mean, what are you gonna do? You could sell with the 1 and then take double 2 workers with the 2, or you could take workers with the 1 and place one of these tiles with the 2. So it's a tricky move. Let's see what they do. Okay, so they do that. They take workers with the 1 and then they place with the 2. Into the 3. So this was kind of unlucky on their end. I think if they would have sold goods with the 1 and taken workers, that might have worked out better in their favor, I think. Right, so the final turn of the game, it's 2 and a 4 for me, 3 and a 5 for our opponent. What are we going to do? What are we going to do, people? If you look at the score, it's 157 to 141. So my opponent clearly has a 16-point lead on us. I mean, I do have more yellow points than them, but regardless, like, it is a big lead. So let's see what happens. So what would you do if you were in my case? Would you buy the warehouse and place it, or would you place the water? I think in this case, you have to do the math, and the way it works out is if I had taken the warehouse, like, I'm spending 2 silver, so that's -2. For completing this region, it's +5. Right? It allows me to sell these 4. And I don't think 4 is a unique good for me. I've already sold the 4. Actually, no, it is a unique good for me. So in this case, it's -2 plus 5 for this region of buildings plus 3 points just for that unique type of good sold plus 2 additional points for selling, kind of. So 4 points plus a silver. So what does that add up to? 8, 9, 13, 11 points. And if I place the water and finish that, that ends up being a region 2. So that is like 5. Plus I get 5 more points for finishing a region like this tile right here. Plus I get to pick up these 3 goods right here plus 3. So that is 13 points for me. So that's kind of how you should do the math in these like critical decisions. In some cases, yeah, sure, rely on your gut, do what feels good. But in certain cases, especially in the end game scenario, you really need to calculate to come out on top. So that's the decision that I made. Like, placing the water right here was the better move. So let's see what that does for us. At this point, I had kind of mentally told myself that I've lost this game. Like, just, I did not do the math correctly to see what my opponent was scoring. Their final score was going to be. I just saw that they had this region of 3 animals to finish, and they were also going to get the 5 bonus tile for animals. I just told myself that we have lost this game. And so yeah, my score is 151 without any bonuses right now. That is what I do. That is what I lock in. And it's a 3 and a 5 for my opponent. So it was kind of unfortunate for them, because if just one of these goods would have worked out, or on the previous turn of this round, if they would have sold with the 1 and taken workers with the 2, they would have been able to utilize both these dice to complete their region of animals. So I think that was another big decision that could have swung the game. Excuse me. But yeah, in this case, they have no choice. And look at that. It was a tie. So we both got 193 points, but I won due to the tiebreaker, that is having less buildings covered. But yeah, look at that. The total was 193 points. So I got 31 points from the yellow tiles. My opponent got 16. I guess we'll go through the statistics real quick. But that was an incredibly insane game. If you look at the empty spaces on the board, so I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 spaces on the board right now. 11 empty spaces. And my opponent had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 empty spaces. So the tiebreaker is whoever has more empty spaces is the winner. So that's how it works. Looking at game results, it's not loading here for some reason, but I already had it pulled up, so we can just review it here. And my opponent was a high elo opponent, so it was an extremely close game. If we look at some of the statistics on this page, so points with sold goods, I kind of had slightly more than my opponent. This was almost even. Let me do it like this. Right, so number of take workers action was even. Sell good action was also even. Take tile action, so my opponent took slightly more tiles than me. Number of placed tiles also, they placed 2 more tiles than me. Tiles bought was even. Free actions, they got a lot more free actions than me because they placed an additional castle than me. They bought like 3 tiles from the black market in phase B. They also placed a bunch of town halls. So they just got more free actions than me. And then points with sold goods, so I got more. Region was almost similar. Points with animals, landslide, they were at 27, we were at 0. Points with watchtowers, we got slightly more. Points with bonus tiles was even, and then points with yellow tiles, we got almost twice what they did. And then the rest of the stats. But yeah, that was game 193 to 193. Not every day you get such a close game of Castles of Burgundy, so I did thank my opponent for the game. Like they just played a really nice game. Like I was impressed, and even though a lot of the decisions that they made were debatable, and I think some errors were made in the last round by them and also by me that could have swung it and made it like slightly more a slightly more comfortable win for either of us. I think overall this was a really fun game. So I hope you enjoyed this analysis. It was a slightly longer video than usual, but I just really enjoyed this game. And if there are certain things that you notice that I did not point out in my analysis, then I would love to hear it from you. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. And stick around, I'll have a lot more content for Castles of Burgundy and also for other board games coming. So yeah, stay tuned. Cheers, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.